Welcome, jesters. Apparently, another one of those out-migration reports or internal migration reports came out, people moving, within the United States, and it is more of the same. People are leaving the blue states and they are coming to the red states. This has been a pattern that's been going on for quite a while, even since before the whole thing. And there's the reactions are the same as they've always been. Don't bring your ideas here. Don't move to our state and ruin it like you did your state. Your state like California, New York, Oregon, Illinois, Washington. It's kind of sad, actually. Even Colorado at this point. But it doesn't seem to be happening. Really, it seems like the only thing that's happening is the blue states are getting bluer and the red states are getting ready. Ready. Ready for what? Anyway, different video. Red-er. Right? And that just indicates that it's just the smart people that are leaving. The people that see what's going on, that have the ability to move, the smarts to move, and they kind of know what's going to happen. They know there's no good outcome for these states, so they're just getting out and they're coming to Texas and Florida and just all over the South, really, and they're fine. They're integrating. They're not causing any trouble, and yeah, we kind of welcome that, right? Wish there weren't so many, but you know what? It is what it is. So I'm not really worried. I'm really not, because there's really been no indication of these people bringing their politics. It is literally people escaping the blue shipholes that are being created. But then the question is, well, why? Why is this happening? And really, it's just like I said. The smart people, they see what's going on. They can predict the future based on the past, and they just don't want to be a part of it. There's they don't. Well, who would want to raise their family in places like that? Who would want to try and start a business in places like that? Who would want to just, I don't know, be even moderately wealthy in a place like that, right? So yeah, they're leaving. But then people ask, well, what's to prevent, the lefties, from coming down here? And you know what? It's just the contrary or converse. They're not smart enough to do so. They really aren't. Right. They created this situation. So I think a lot of them actually genuinely believe that everything they voted for, all these crazy progressive policies, will work, because there's a handful of examples that they don't really understand why they haven't really devolved yet. And that's because the people that enable that, they haven't left yet. But that's beside the point. So I'm sure I talked about this once before, but one thing that a lot of red states have been doing over the past few years is making our states fairly inhospitable to most progressives, and really in a way that doesn't really affect us. We're totally fine with everything, but it's things that they find so unpalatable that they can never move to a red state, right? Like the people that believe in Zorhan Mamdani, they're going to stay there, and they're not going to come down to Florida and live under evil Ron DeSantis or anything like that. These are the same people that believe "Don't Say Gay" was a real thing. They actually believe there's somehow a Florida law that prevents people from saying the word gay, right? I'm serious. They actually believe this, so they're not going to move to Florida. Even though like I said, I think last week, Colorado's law on conversion therapy was literally "Don't Say Gay." It literally prevented therapists from suggesting that a child might just be homosexual. Yeah, literal "Don't Say Gay." So, and another thing that's going around, they actually believe that high-speed rail is coming to California, right? That the California high-speed rail will eventually connect Los Angeles and San Francisco in 4 hours, right? And when you mention that, well, we actually already have something like that here in Florida with Brightline, they just scoff. Because it's not run by the government or some stupid stuff like that, right? They believe sanctuary cities are good, right? Sanctuary cities are banned in Florida. I think they're also banned in Texas and several other southern states. So, yeah, exactly. You know what? They still, want their slaves, so they're never going to leave a place, or they're never going to move to a place where they can't have slaves, right? So that's going to keep them up in the blue states. They honestly probably believe that women cannot get healthcare in Florida, right? Or Texas. Oh, they definitely don't think women can get healthcare in Texas, right? I know, it's crazy. But you know what? So long as they believe this, it's fine. We're totally fine with them believing this nonsense and just staying away. Believe me, the fewer of them, the better. Rush had some comments about that. So there's always be 12 liberals at college campuses, so we never forget about them. Something like that. That would be the ideal. But yeah, I don't think they're coming here because they've fallen for this nonsense. And the recent voter ID law that was passed here in Florida, I'm sure that I'm absolutely 100% sure that they now believe that women and somehow minorities are not allowed to vote in Florida, or actually, because it's ID related, I'm sure they think that women cannot vote in Florida. And if that somehow became the case, it would probably solve most of our problems. And I'm right.